Good morning, boys and girls, and it is Wednesday today, and I'm back in school, and I'm not in my own classroom though. Can you tell where I am if I move my head? That's right, I'm in the breakfast room today, but I don't see any breakfast here. Oh well. We have a lovely day today. We have some songs online. You'll find them on Class Dojo for our Children's Mental Health Week. So you'll get a little message about that. And also today is PE Day. So hopefully you can get onto Zoom today. Just follow the links to get onto Zoom and do our Healthy Kids lesson with Kirsty. I think Kirsty's doing it again today. And it starts at 11:15 and finishes at 11:15. So a lovely day today. And also some lovely work from me. Yay! So let's begin. And we start by writing our date. So as we know, today is Wednesday, and it's the 3rd day of February, the 3rd of February 2021. Wednesday, the 3rd of February 2021. Let's look through our spellings. And as you know, in our spellings, we have some words that have different meanings but sound the same. And we'll be looking at that today in Sounds in Focus as well. So we've got here and whole as well. So let's read through our words. Here, hear, he's, heard, 100, hurry, haven't, hurt, who, whose, whole and whole. So our last activity in Sounds in Focus for this week is part 6, and it's dealing with homophones. Homophones are words that sound the same but are spelt differently, and they have a different meaning as well. So, same sound, different spelling and different meaning. So we've got B and B, for example. This is the buzzy bee flying through the air. And then the other one is one you would use in a sentence. For example, I will be there soon. We've got hear, to hear with your ear. And here, I'll be here in a minute. Heard and heard. I heard a rumour. And I try to remember that by seeing that there's an ear in there to hear something. I heard a rumour. And this means herd as in a herd of animals. A whole group of animals. Hole and hole. So this is a damage to something or a space in something. So you could have a hole in your jumper. There could be a hole in the ground. And this here, whole, means all of something. Like the whole cake or the whole pie. Whose and whose. Now, this one means who is. Who's coming to my party tomorrow? So anytime when you would use who is, you would use this one with the apostrophe. Now the second whose is trickier, and it's one that is often used incorrectly, even by grown-ups. And the best way to use it to show you what it means is to use it in a sentence. So for example, the girl whose coat was pink was sitting over there. The girl whose coat was pink was sitting over there. So it doesn't mean who is, because if we try to make that, split it up, the girl whose coat was pink wouldn't make sense. So you use this one when who is or whose doesn't make sense. The boy whose football had burst was crying in the playground. So again, the boy who is football wouldn't make sense, so you would have to use this one. The boy whose football had burst was crying in the playground. So it's kind of a belonging to. We said the girl whose pink coat, the boy whose football. Today, Sounds in Focus is asking you to pick the right homophone. So pick here or here, heard or heard, and so on. So let's read through the sentences. I can hear a noise here in the house. Now I can say the words out because I am not spelling them for you. You have to use both of the heres, but you have to use the right one in the right space. So you're going to be using this one once and this one once. I can hear a noise here in the house. The next one asks you to use the correct heard. I heard the herd of cows outside. Our next word is hole. My whole head will fit through that hole. Next one is the word whose and whose. Who's the person hiding in that house? And then you choose whose or whose there, the first one or the second one. And then in the final sentence, you choose the other whose. I don't know. Whose house is it? Now today for our literacy, we are doing a fable. And a fable is a story with a moral at the end or a lesson at the end. So we're going to read through the fable and then answer the questions, all right? Now, the lesson at the end is keep trying even when things seem hard. And that fits in very nicely with what we've been looking at for Children's Mental Health Week, because we were looking yesterday and listening to songs that were teaching us to try our best to believe in ourselves in order to achieve. And in this fable, the tortoise really believed in himself, even though the hare laughed at him. So I want you to read through that story, read it with someone at home, and then you're going to answer the questions on the next page. Now, when you're answering the questions, the grown-up at home should see you doing this a lot, looking back through the text to answer each question, okay? You don't just read the story and then forget about it and start doing the questions. You refer back to the text over and over again to make sure you've answered correctly. So let's look through the questions. The story says that the hare bragged about how fast he was. What is another word that means the same as bragged? Tick one of them. Does bragged mean talked, boasted, or shouted? Why did the tortoise want to race the hare? Tick one. Because he was tired of listening to him boast? Because he knew that he was a faster runner than the hare? Or because tortoises love racing? I don't know if tortoises love racing. Question 3. Now remember, for these last 3 questions, you need to answer in full sentences, which many of you are doing really, really well. Why did the hare stop for a rest? So you would begin your answer with, the hare stopped for a rest because, and then complete the sentence, referring back to the text to help you answer the question as correctly as possible. Question 4. The moral of the story is to keep trying even when things seem hard. What else can we learn from the story? I think the hare learned a valuable lesson. So maybe you could say something about what we learned from the story from seeing the hare's behaviour and how things turned out for him. So you could begin with, we also learned that, and then give something else that you learned from the story. Question 5. Do you think that the hare has learned his lesson by the end of the story? So you can give your own answer. You'll either say, yes, I think the hare has learned his lesson because, or no, I don't think the hare has learned his lesson because, and then give your reason. So maybe you think he has after losing the race and boasting. Maybe he's realised that boasting isn't a good idea. Or maybe you think that he'll just forget about it the next time he meets someone who is slower than him. It's up to you to decide if you think hare has learnt his lesson. You can say yes or no as long as you explain your answer. Okay? As you know then, for our maths, we are continuing to work through our times tables booklet on the 4 times tables. So yesterday you completed these 2 sheets, and this one here you might need today to help you, because today we are completing the 4 times tables all mixed up in a different order. Okay, now if you really need to, but only if you really need to, you can take a peek back at your 4 times tables. But what I would suggest you do first is to go through all of these and try to complete as many as you can without any help. So for example, I would not expect you to be taking a peek back at 0 times 4 or 4 times 0. Also, you should be able to do 1 times 4 yourself, 2 times 4. In fact, do as many as you can without looking back, all right? Then over the page, you will see it says, I can find the products of the 4 times tables. And as we looked at with our last times tables booklet, products, that word product means the answer in the 4 times tables. So 4 times something makes a product. So all of the answers in the 4 times tables, all the ones that you have down here, are all products of the 4 times tables. So on this page, you are looking around for numbers that are answers in the 4 times tables. So for example, 4 times 0 is 0. So 0 is a product of the 4 times tables. So you would circle 0 here. Then you go through all the other numbers and think, are they answers in the 4 times tables? So you're not going to circle 15, for example. It's definitely not a product of 4. Boys and girls, when you've done that, then please, if you can, and if you have good internet access, go on to hit the button and keep practicing those 4 times tables. And try to recite them aloud at home to someone and see how far you get, if you can remember them. And so boys and girls, don't forget that PE is on today at 10:45. So if you can get on to Zoom to access that, that would be great. I'm going to have to change now into my PE gear because I don't think this woolly jumper would be the best thing to work out in, do you? No. Don't forget also to read. If you need more books, send me a message because I'd love to see you doing more AR quizzes. Lots of you have sent me messages asking for more books, telling me that you've run out of books and you need more, and I have given you more titles to access. And they're books that you can all do AR quizzes on as well. So if you need more books, let me know. Carry on with Sumdog as well if you have time, but hit the button your priority because we want to keep practicing those times tables. All right? Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.